Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me. My name is Nigel and today I'm going to be sharing items that sold on eBay in November 2025, and these items sold for $15 and up. Okay, so a lot of these items I got from the Goodwill bins or the thrift store. A lot of them came from the thrift store in the bins for the most part, some from the yard sales, and some of them I just got for free. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Just jump right on in. So this item, when I found this at the bins, and when I found it, I initially didn't think it was anything. It was just in a box. But I just threw it in my cart. That's the cool thing about the bins. I like the whole idea of throwing things in my cart and I look it over later. I don't like to look at things right then and there because when I do, I find out that I could be missing other things around me. So my strategy is, and of course, like that can get super hectic over time. So especially like when they're bringing out new bins. So you definitely want to be mindful of that. So this is a treasure episode 1 All Too Zero by 80s. I've never heard of this band before. I guess it's like a um, K-pop band. I'm not sure, but it was in like excellent condition, like brand new, as if somebody never used it. So yeah, I got this from the bin, so I didn't pay very much for it, and I sold it for $65, and it sold within a week of selling, within a week of listing it. So super, super fast. The next item is this Charter Club 100% cashmere sweater. I believe I also got this from the bins, and I actually took a offer of $15, probably because it had like some wear. I'm not exactly sure why it only sold for that amount, but it did sell within 5 months of me having it listed. All right, this next item, I actually undersold this. But I mean, hey, it came from the bin, so literally paying only cents. I accepted a best offer of $38. Like, what the heck? Why did I do that? I mean, I probably could have got like $10 more or so, but honestly, I do feel a little guilty for getting that much even for a tank top. But it was Y2K Hollister, which is super trendy right now with the whole Y2K community. It got a lot of attention on all platforms. I also sell on Depop and Poshmark. Maybe one day I'll share some of the sales there, but where I sell the most stuff at is on eBay. So this sold within like a week or so of having it listed. Probably not even, honestly, probably a couple of days. And I took a best offer of $38 and I got this from the bins. So you definitely want to look for this type of style here, especially with like this whole um little logo there. Super popular, especially if it also has like the lace trim. This next item is a vintage slip maxi skirt. Not the best picture. This is definitely an older listing. I had this listed for almost a year. I actually bought this for myself, but it did not fit me. So I ended up relisting it and it took almost a year to sell and it sold for $22. This next item I got from a thrift store. Um, I probably would have paid like $3 for this, but because it had a flaw around the pocket area here, they just let me get it for free. It's a thrift store that I go to a lot, and they're just really awesome. But yeah, they just let me get it for free, which I felt guilty about that. So it did take like 3 months to sell, and it sold for $24. And I think this is a maybe a decent brand to look for. This next item is a vintage green plaid baby dress. I thought it was a baby doll dress. This is a terrible picture. I literally just threw it on my couch and took a picture of it. Not the best idea. That probably was part of the reason why I didn't sell, because I think there's a lot of different factors that go into why an item doesn't sell very well. And I think it had something to do with the picture, the title, that sort of stuff. I got this from an estate sale. I believe I paid 50 cents for it, but I had it for like a year and it did sell for $15. This next item is a vintage posable curly mohair style teddy bear. Um, it was jointed, had an open mouth. I couldn't find much on it at all. I did take a best offer of $21 on this bear, and it took about 4 months to sell. It did have some flaws on his feet here, as you can see, but it was really cute. This next item, we got from the bins, or actually my mom, she found this at the bins. It is a Hasbro Baby Alive, My Baby Alive Hispanic brunette doll. She was not working, and in fact, I think I even opened up her battery pack area and it looked pretty bad, but I did show pictures of that. I think it was on this doll anyways, unless it's on another one. I did accept an offer of $43 and she sold super quick within like probably like like a few days of having her listed. This is like a doll that you would not think that would sell very well because it's kind of like oversaturated and stuff. But the reason why she sold for that much is because I guess she was not as common. So if she was like still in the box, she would be like, or in like better condition with her clothes and everything. I would have probably got closer to like 100, even $200 for her. So I would definitely honestly, if you find any baby alive doll, I would just look them up because you just never know. I was gonna throw her back, but something just told me to look at her, so you just never know sometimes. But she sold very quickly for $42. This next item was also found at the bins. It's a vintage Chung Ching Tung musical red bells. I don't really know how to say that. Santa string Christmas lights, and it worked. I got this from the bins. It was missing some of its little light covers. But this was an international order, so super nice. They always message me about it and everything, but they did get it, and I just ended up just selling it really low because I had this item for like a year. So yeah. This next item is a Gans Webkins Junior Pink Puppy dog. He didn't have a code. You definitely want to look out for these Webkins, especially if they have codes. I just recently started back looking into them because I don't know. I just always thought that like if this right here, this signature that mark that you will find on their feet at the bottom of their feet, if it wasn't gold, then it just wasn't worth buying it. But actually, that's just not true because you have a lot of these that are very rare. So you definitely want to look into them. And if they have their hang tags, definitely look into them. I found a couple of Webkins at the bins and I sold one for like $50 and the other one I sold for around 30 something dollars. It was just like a bin that had like a bunch of Webkins in it. So definitely look at the Webkin plush because some of them can go for really good money even if they don't have that gold signature mark. So this one though, he was not a fast flip. He actually took 6 months to sell, but he did sell for $18. And I believe I got him from a thrift store and I probably paid like $1 for him. All right, here is a Disney Vampirina plush, 14 inches. She also came from the bins. Not a very, high flip, but she did sell very quickly within like a couple of days to a week of having her listed. Maybe it has something to do with the new TV show they remade with Vampirina. So I'm not quite sure, but super fast flip. So if you can get her for maybe 50 cents, not too bad. The next item is a vintage LL Bean wool buffalo plaid shacket, green, black, check, men's size small, chore, work, were some keywords that I added in. This actually, I was surprised did not go for a lot of money, but I managed to squeeze out a couple of dollars more for this item because I think what really helped elevate it were some of the words I used. Were like chore and work. I did put shacket, and having buffalo plaid in here, I think is very sought out after this time of year. So, and it did sell very quickly within like a week or so of having it listed. And I got this from a thrift store for $2. This next item is an apple bottoms women's dress size small. I did put in keywords like psychedelic, swirl, pink, orange bell sleeve in Y2K. I believe I sold this for $24. I took a best offer of 24. This was in some clothes that my mom was going to donate, and I just kind of went through them, and so this was free to me, and it did sell within like I think 4 months of having it listed. I'm actually surprised it didn't sell on Depop. This next item is a Yoo-Hoo and Friends by Aurora Endangered Bush Baby Purple and White Stuffed Plush. This sold for $17, but I had it listed forever for like 2 years. I would never pick this up again, but it did sell for $17. This next item sold very quickly. It is a vintage Commonwealth blue smiley stuffed plush. It had the suction cups and it was 7 inches. I got this from a thrift store. I don't remember how much I paid, probably like 50 cents, definitely no more than a dollar. Sold very quickly within a couple of days to a week of having it listed. I think these smiley plush, some of them are, you know, very sought after. So I would definitely look them up. They usually don't sell for too much. I would say around 15 and 20-ish dollars, but they usually sell very quickly. Most of the ones that I pick up sell very quickly. I would say these and another popular plush that I feel like sells very quickly, even though it's completely different, are the gorillas with the side eyes. You definitely want to type that into as a keyword. And those usually can fetch around like 20-ish dollars and up. The next item is this Lydia Dietz Beetlejuice 20-inch stuffed plush doll. I got her from the bins, I believe, and I took a best offer, I think, of $15, and she did take about 3 months to sell. Um, so not too bad. And I believe I got her from the bin, so I didn't pay very much. The next item is this Susan Graber. It was a two-piece set. I thought this would have sold much quicker, but this took almost a year to sell. I did get this at a thrift store, a church thrift store for like $2 to $3. So to me, that's kind of paying up a little bit for Susan Graver. So, and I picked it up because I heard so many great things about Susan Graver being a fast flip and a good flip, but that did not happen. So maybe it was just like certain styles or sizes, or I also didn't have the very best picture, or maybe my title was off. I'm not quite sure, but it did take almost a year to sell, but it did sell for, it looks like $35. I thought it sold for 20-ish dollars, but I guess 35. So next item is this navy blue authentic Popmark Crybaby keychain plush. I got this from a yard sale and I paid 50 cents for her, and she sold in like less than a month. I guess it's made by the same company that makes the Labubus. So I don't know. I don't really know much about it. I guess that's for the young kids, or maybe not. I don't know. But I did find like a fake Labubu one day. I went to the bin. So my daughter, she has that. She clips it to her backpack every day. She loves it. Sold very quickly for $20. The next item are these Crybabies, Tiny Cuddles, Elsa and Happy Sakura, 9-inch baby doll with flower theme. I got these also from the bins, and I originally was going to give them to my niece, but my sister was like, no, they have too many toys and Christmas is coming up, and yeah, so she probably would have donated them. So she encouraged me to list them, and I'm happy I did. They sold within like 2 months or less of having them listed, and they sold for $35. Okay, this next item right here, I totally undersold it. I believe I probably could have gotten at least twice the amount that I listed it for. I did not properly do my research and I was just kind of rushing. There weren't that many of these listed. I don't think there were any, but I did look at the sold comps. I always, do that for the most part. Um, but I think the ones that I had sold were like 6-inch ones, and mine was a 10-inch of this El Silco sterling silver trumpet bud vase. So it was sterling silver. I don't think I've ever found sterling silver um like candlesticks or anything, or even really silverware. So that was really cool. I found this actually at the bins. So that was really fun. It was not a heavy item, so I know I didn't pay very much for it, but I sold it for $45. And when I tell you that once I listed it, it sold within like seconds, that's how you know I like undersold it. So, but either way, super fast flip. I would definitely look out for really anything that's sterling silver, whether it be silverware or these candlesticks or any type of like hard goods, just anything that's sterling silver. I believe silver and gold and all those things are going up anyway. So, yeah, so I would look out for this super fast flip. But I believe I probably could have got like 80 or 90 for it. The next item took a little bit to sell. This was a vintage Obermeyer Jr. size 8 one-piece ski suit. This took a little while to sell, but I think if this was an adult size, I would have, definitely gotten more for it. Um, so yeah, and it makes sense why it didn't sell obviously in the spring and it would sell this time of year. So, I would look out for ski suits. This next item is another Ben's find. This is by the brand Black Brown 1826. It was a men's size extra, extra large, and it was a cashmere sweater. Somebody literally sent me an offer once I listed it, so it sold the same day within minutes. Um, Super fast flip. I've never heard of that brand before. Here's the tag. So yeah, and actually, I think my mom found this at the bins. So super fast flip. And I believe I accepted, I think it was $30. So yeah. This next item actually took almost a year to sell. This really cute little handmade patchwork little cat vest. Just love this. I spent $3 for this at the Salvation Army thrift store, but it did take almost a year to sell. Um, so yeah, but I did profit 22 bucks for that. I'm actually surprised this didn't sell around the time that I listed it for, which was in the springtime. But it did sell for $15. Somebody sent me a $15 offer. But it's a vintage baby boy seersucker overalls and it has some embroidery, super cute, and vintage. I love the vintage kids clothes. I absolutely love it. It doesn't always go for a lot unless you find like certain like brands, like for example Oshkosh. But it has to be like certain styles and prints of that as well. But I just couldn't leave this behind. So, and I believe I got this from the Benz. So I didn't pay very much for it, but it did sell for 15 and it sold, within like 5 or 6 months of having it listed. This next item I had listed for like a year as well, too, or a little over a year. This is a vintage Floppy Friends Stegosaurus colorful spikes. Use a beanbag. Um, I believe the reason why he didn't sell is because I just had it priced up too high. I really thought I had something special and different. Um, but he did sell for $38. The next item is a Neiman Marcus exclusive turtleneck top. It was green and ribbed, and it was also a silk blend. So I did want to go ahead and pick this up when I found it I want to say I got this from Goodwill or the Salvation Army thrift store. I really don't know. I have like $4 into it, but it did sell for $36, but it also took 6 months to sell. So I'm not sure if I would. I mean, I would pick up something like this again because it's just a seasonal item. So I mean, it makes sense why it sold this time. So if you have the room for it, then it's not a bad pickup for sure. This next item actually was a fast flip, I believe. It sold in 2 months, and is it Kith? Women's Mulberry Vintage Tea, French Clay. Actually, I got this from like a consignment store that I really don't go to very often, but I should because I found some really good things in there that they do not price up that is it's kind of good for reselling, honestly. So this is one of the items that I paid $4 for, and it sold in 2 months of me having it listed. So definitely a good brand to look for. This next item sold very quickly. I had this listed for probably the same day or the next day that I had it listed. Somebody sent me a $15 offer. And this is Disney Babies mini pink velour one piece. I could not figure out if this was vintage. I believe it was. Like, look at that tag. This was definitely vintage. I don't know why I didn't put that in the tag in the listing. Um, so I mean, I could have waited a little longer and got a little bit more money, but I believe I only paid like 50 cents for this, so it's fine. This next item sold within a couple of months of me having it listed, and I got it from, I'm sorry if you can hear my dog in the background. I have a Bichon Frise, and he's playing with his bone right now. So sorry if you hear him acting goofy in the background. But this item I got from a thrift store, a church thrift store, and I paid $4 for it. This is really cute Lily Pulitzer women's extra small white knit fringe vest, faux fur, trim boho sweater vest. Um, yeah, I paid $55.55. I believe the buyer sent me that offer. So I think it had some decent materials in here. Did it? Or maybe not. Well, cotton, which is good. Super cute. I believe something like this, though, I should have put on the mannequin to better showcase it. So, yeah. But I always look at Lily Pulitzer. I believe it's a great brand to look into. I know some of the items of Lily Pulitzer can go for some crazy money. This next item I got from a regular thrift store. I believe it was like the Haven Attic thrift store, possibly. I got this for $2 and I sold it for $44. And it is a vintage hand carved wooden tribal mask. Actually, wait, I lied. No, this did not come from the Haven Attic. This came from a church thrift store, and yeah, I did pay $2 for it. I was thinking about a different mask that I sold from um, the Haven Attic thrift store, but not this one. So, but it was really cool and unique, and I did not want to leave it behind. I could not really find anything on it. It didn't have any marks, but it did take 2 months to sell, and it sold for 44 bucks. This next item I had listed for about 6 months, and it is this Ellie women's off-the-shoulder blouse, size extra large. It was striped and floral and embroidered, so really cute, but not like the best quality, honestly. So I just kind of got it based on style, and I believe I got this in a bag sale, so didn't have much into it. So I, happily accepted the $15 offer, especially since I had it listed for quite some time. This next item sold very quickly within the same week of me listing it. This is Gun Fuzzy Monkey. I think I just put in like the code or of what it is. It's a floppy stuffed animal, and I did put in keywords like lovey, and I spelled it two different ways because you just never know how people might spell it when they're searching for these type of items. So, but I think Gund is just a really good brand anyway. So when I see it, I do tend to like look up the comps. This sold for $18 and it sold in a week. Next item is this Roundtree and York Platinum Label Vest. It was 100% cashmere. I had this listed for about 2 or 3 months and it did sell for $38. So anything that's cashmere, I will look into it. And I got this from a church thrift store for $2. This next item I got from a yard sale, it was a church yard sale where it was like fill a bag and they kind of gave you a price at the end. I believe at the end I paid like $30 or $35 for a garbage bag filled with clothing and a couple of American Girl dolls. I had two American Girl dolls and one American Girl doll baby. Both of the dolls, actually all three of the dolls have already sold, so I already got my money back and then some. So this is one of the items that I put in there, and it's not an expensive brand at all, just like a regular cheap like boutique brand. But I did want to go ahead and get it because it was in great condition and just on the style. And I did use like these keywords to help elevate it, such as coquette, fairy, and dainty. and I did put ruffle and baby doll. So these keywords help elevate this piece to sell very quickly, even though not for a lot of money, but it sold within like a day or two of me listing it. So definitely the pictures and the keywords and the title all play a big part in selling your item very quickly. I'm learning that. So yeah. This next item I got from the Goodwill bins. Um, it is a Miami Dolphins youth size jersey. I, didn't pay very much for it because it's not very heavy, but it did sell for the $29, I believe, is what it sold for. So, and it did take a little while to sell though. It did take like 5 or 6 months to sell, but I would still pick it up again. Item is this Coral Mon. Okay, I'm not gonna say that. It's like in French, and my mom, she's French, but she didn't teach it to me, so I'm not gonna embarrass myself. I'm gonna stop right there. But I picked up this baby doll here for probably like 50 cents at a regular thrift store that does not price their items very high. And this took like almost a year to sell, if not a year. So, and I thought this brand was a good brand. That's why I did pick it up. But this was during a time where I really didn't look at comps. So that's super important. But it did sell for the $25, which was cool. This next item was actually picked up at the bins. My mom actually found this. She didn't know anything about West, which was funny. And she was trying to show me an item. She was trying to show me a bunch of stuff actually, but I was so distracted with what I had in my cart and trying to sort through it before they brought out like the new bin rotations, which the struggle is real when you're trying to sort through your items really quickly so you have room for the other items that are coming out. So I don't know, something just told me to turn around and look at where she had, the items that she left behind. I was like, oh my God, Mom, this is the Eileen West. What are you doing? So I'm happy I picked that up really quickly before somebody else did. But yeah, so this did not weigh but so much, and it sold for $35, and it sold very quickly. I actually have two more Eileen West pieces that I thrifted that I need to get listed very soon. But yes, this brand right here is a really great brand. It doesn't sell. I don't know if there are any pieces out there that sell for a lot, but it looks like they sell around the 20ish and $30 range, but they have they flip very quickly. So definitely a good brand to look for. And last but not least, which I have none of my items are in any particular order, but last but not least is this Children's Place sweater. I thought it was super cute. I don't think it was vintage, probably just like maybe discontinued or something. I picked this up at a thrift store for $1 and it sold for $29, but it did take almost a year to sell. So there's that. Well, that is all I have for today. I just wanted to show some highlights, or basically some of my bread and butter items that sold in November, and some high dollar items and some items that sold fairly quickly. So if you enjoyed watching this, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I would truly appreciate it. And Happy New Year, everybody. Goodbye.